Very good afternoon everyone. My name is Akshita and I'm a NEET aspirant at RS Vigyan Academy. Today I'm going to discuss the main important topic called human circulatory system. It is equally important in NEET and as well as your IP exams. So let us start. We'll discuss the origin of the heart, that is mesodermal in origin. Now what is mesoderm? As we know that during the embryonic development, the embryo, it has three layers: ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm, and from that the heart is originated. Now where is this heart located at? It is located in the thoracic cavity between the lungs, and it is slightly tilted towards left. As you can see here, it is slightly tilted towards left. And what are the membranes of the heart? The heart has a double membrane, which is called pericardium, and it is filled with pericardial fluid. Now this pericardial fluid will give protection to heart against any external stimuli or any shocks. Now what are the chambers of the heart? Now the heart has four chambers. It is right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium and left ventricle. Now talking about the septum. What are septum? Septum is nothing but the wall which is dividing the atria and ventricles. Now there are three septums which we'll be discussing. The first septum, it is present between two atria. Hence it is called as interatrial septum. Since it is present between both the atria, then it is called as interatrial septum. And another septum is called as interventricular septum. Since both of them are ventricles and it is present between both the ventricles, it is called as interventricular septum. Now there is another septum which is called as atrioventricular septum. This is the third one, which is called as atrioventricular septum, because it divides the atria and ventricles, hence it is called as atrioventricular septum. Now this interatrial septum is actually thin. As you can see, I have drawn a thin line. It is thin muscular layer. It is thin and muscular. Even the ventricles is also, the ventricles is muscular but it is thick. So this is the main difference. This is thick and this is thin. It has also been asked in previous year question of NEET. And now the atrioventricular septum, it is also a thick one but it is fibrous. Hence I have drawn it with red so that you can distinguish. It is thick and it is fibrous. Now both the ventriculars and atria and ventriculars are muscular. One is thick and the other is thin. The atrioventricular is thick but it is fibrous. Now what are the valves? So before knowing the valves, let's just see the internal structure. Now as you know, this is the right atrium, this is the left atrium, this is the right ventricle and this is the left ventricle. Now we'll just see the flow of the blood. How is blood being purified in our heart? Now you have, as you know, there is one basic thing which you have to know, that is arteries will carry the oxygenated blood away from the heart, and whereas veins will carry the deoxygenated blood towards the heart. Now here this is vena cava, that means these are veins. Here it is superior vena cava and this is inferior vena cava. This both will carry the blood towards the heart from the body parts. From all the body parts, it will carry the deoxygenated blood towards the heart. Now from here and here the blood is being flowed, and from it will enter into the right atrium. Blood is entering into the right atrium. Now this is the deoxygenated blood, hence I am referring it with blue color, and I will be referring the oxygenated blood with the red color. Now this is the deoxygenated blood in the right atrium, and from here the blood will flow into the right ventricle. How will it flow? Now between both the atria and ventricle, there are structures called as valves. Now what are these valves are for? They help in the unidirectional flow of the blood. Now these are two types of valves here between the ventricles. I'll write here. This is atrioventricular valves, AV valves, and other one you have it semi-lunar valves. Now the atrioventricular valves. This is the atria and this is the ventricle. Between both the atria and ventricle, we have atrioventricular valves. This will help in the unidirectional flow of the blood. Now here the valves present at the right atrium are called as tricuspid valve. This is at right atrium and right ventricle. Now, here at left atrium and left ventricle, you have another pair of valves which are called as bicuspid valve. See, this is tricuspid valve and this is bicuspid valve. Now, the blood will flow from right atrium to the left atrium through the help of these valves. Now, from here, this is the deoxygenated blood. Now, we need oxygenated blood. So from the right ventricle, the blood it flows into the pulmonary artery. Here is one exception. I have earlier said that arteries will carry oxygenated blood. Even this is an artery, but here this is carrying deoxygenated blood. That is the exception which we need to remember. Now this deoxygenated blood is being carried to lungs. Here left lung and right lung. Now in the lungs, through the process of cellular respiration, the oxygenated it will carry the oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood has been exchanged, and now the purified or oxygenated blood is carried from pulmonary vein. That is, if you can see, these are like lungs. Now from these lungs, deoxygenated blood is going inside, and from these lungs through pulmonary vein, oxygenated blood is been coming. So the pulmonary vein, here is another exception, because I have said veins will carry deoxygenated blood, but here the pulmonary vein will carry oxygenated blood towards the heart. So these are two pairs of pulmonary vein and this is one pair of pulmonary artery. Now these two pairs of pulmonary vein will carry oxygenated blood towards the left atrium. Now in the left atrium we have oxygenated blood. We have oxygenated blood in the left atrium. Now from left atrium it is going towards left ventricle through the help of bicuspid valves. These are bicuspid valves. Bicuspid valves are also called as mitral valves. Now from the left ventricle the blood is been pumped into the aorta. This is an artery. Now this aorta will carry oxygenated blood towards the body parts. Now here is the aorta. Now this aorta will carry oxygenated blood to body parts. Now by this our body parts will receive oxygenated blood. So the entire process is what? We have started from deoxygenated blood and we are sending the oxygenated blood to the parts of the body. Now this is how the flow of the blood has been done. Now here we have some special structures called as papillary muscles. Now these papillary muscles are throughout the ventricle. Now and along with these papillary muscles you have chordae tendineae. Now what are these chordae tendineae? These are like structures which will attach from the tricuspid and bicuspid valves and to the papillary valves, to the papillary muscles. Now what do? These chordae tendineae will help to prevent the backflow. Now when the blood is being flowing like this, now this muscles, these chordae tendineae will push these this will push this ventricles, it will push these valves to downwards such that it can prevent the backflow of the blood. Now let's just draw a flow chart. Let's draw a flow chart of superior and inferior vena cava, and it is entering into the right atrium. Now from right atrium it is entering into the right ventricle through tricuspid valve. right ventricle, it is going towards pulmonary artery. And from pulmonary artery, it will send towards lungs. Now all this blood, it is deoxygenated blood. Now from the lungs, it will carry oxygenated blood. Pulmonary vein will carry the oxygenated blood. And it will send towards left atrium and left ventricle, and from left ventricle it will go into aorta and to the body parts. Now all of this blood is the oxygenated blood. Now let us go into another topic called as conducting system. Now how is this impulses? Now see, if the blood flow, if we need the blood flow to go into the heart and from body parts, we need something to control this. So all of this is been controlled by conducting system. Now we'll see the muscles of the heart. The muscles of the heart are, the heart is mostly 95% it is made up of cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles. Along with cardiac muscles, there are special muscles called as nodal tissue. Now these are the special muscles. Now these nodal tissues, they consist of sinoatrial node. This is sinoatrial node and atrioventricular node. Now here we will be doing one important point, that is our human heart, it is myogenic. What do you mean by myogenic? It means that the heart has the ability to generate its own heartbeat. So it will generate its own heartbeat. That means it has a property of auto-excitability. Now what is auto-excitability? That means the heart doesn't need any external stimuli. Auto means self. So it can excite on self. That means it doesn't need, no external stimuli is required. Like how will you remember this? Now what is, let's just take an example. Now if you are a NEET aspirant, and there are like two types of people. One kind of people, they need motivation from your teachers or from parents or somewhat like that. But there are other kind of people who don't need any motivation from other people. They can do it on their own. So just like that, the muscle, it doesn't need any impulses from other sources. It can do on its own. Now we'll be discussing about the nodal tissue. How is the impulses being conducted throughout the heart muscles? Now the first one is the sinoatrial node. Where it is located, this is actually a patch of the nodal tissue. This is nothing but a patch of the nodal tissue which is present at top right corner of right atrium. This is the right atrium. So it is present at top right corner of the right atrium. Now what is the function of the sinoatrial node? It is also called as the pacemaker. The pacemaker of the heart. That means, as I've said earlier, it has a property called as auto-excitability. Now that is what is a pacemaker. Now it shows the property of auto-excitability. It will generate its own action potential and it will generate its own heartbeat. Now the impulses from sinoatrial node is been transferred to another patch of nodal tissue called as AV, that is atrioventricular nodes. Now where it is located? This is located in the lower left side of the right atrium. This is the right atrium and it is located at the lower left side of the right atrium. And from here the impulses, now the AV node, it will generate impulses and it will send the impulses to AV bundle. Now here this AV bundle is present between the ventricles. As you know, these both are the ventricles. So it is present between, the impulses are going between the ventricles. Now this AV bundle, it is further divided into the left and right bundle. Now both of these left and right bundle together, they form bundle of His. Now Now both of these bundles are called as bundle of His. Now the impulses from SAN node, it went into AVN node, and from here it is going into AV bundle or bundle of His, and from here it will go through Purkinje fibers. Now these are the fibers which are called as Purkinje fibers. Now these are in between the ventricles. You can see these are between the ventricular walls. Now this is how the impulses has been generated. Now through these impulses, what happens is the atria and ventricles, they contract. So with the property of the contraction, this flow of the muscles has been regulated. Now this is the entire topic of human circulatory system. Along with that, the conduction system. I hope you all understood. Thank you very much.